Every city has one. The man people pretend not to see. He sat on the same corner every day, near the subway entrance, beside the flickering streetlight. Dirty coat, worn shoes, cardboard sign. Most people assumed he was asking for money. He wasn't. He was watching you and writing. And the day someone finally opened his notebook, everything changed. His name, according to a faded ID no one checked, was Samuel Vale. But no one called him Samuel. To the city, he was just that homeless guy on Fifth. Every morning at 7:45, he arrived at the same spot. Not to beg, but to observe. Businessmen rushing with half-tied ties. Students glued to glowing screens. Couples arguing in hushed, sharp whispers. And in his lap, always, a small black notebook. He wrote constantly, page after page. People assumed it was rambling, madness. But Samuel's eyes were sharp, calculating, present. He noticed patterns. The woman who cried every Wednesday. The security guard who limped but smiled anyway. The executive who looked powerful but terrified. He wasn't just watching people. He was studying them. One cold Thursday afternoon, something unusual happened. A sharply dressed man stumbled out of the office building across the street. Mid-40s. Expensive coat. Phone pressed to his ear. His voice was shaking. "It's over," the board pulled out. "We're done." He hung up, stood frozen, then sank onto the curb, head in his hands. People walked around him, pretending not to notice. Samuel didn't. He watched. Then slowly he stood and walked toward the man. The businessman looked up, irritated. "I don't have anything," he muttered, assuming Samuel wanted money. Samuel didn't speak. He simply tore a page from his notebook and handed it to him, then walked back to his corner. Confused, the man unfolded the paper. It read, "You built your identity on success. Now that success is gone, you think you are too. But you were valuable before the title, and you will be after it." The man stared at the words. They weren't generic. They were precise, uncomfortably accurate. He looked back at Samuel. For the first time, really looked at him. Curiosity replaced pride. That evening, the businessman, whose name was Daniel Mercer, returned. He approached Samuel slowly. "What else have you written?" Samuel hesitated, then handed him the notebook. Daniel expected nonsense. Instead, he found pages filled with observations. The loudest person in the room is often the most afraid. People scroll to escape the life they won't confront. Loneliness hides best in crowded places. Ambition without self-worth becomes self-destruction. It wasn't the writing of a broken mind. It was the writing of someone who had seen everything. Daniel flipped to the first page. Dated 10 years ago. This wasn't random. This was deliberate. "Why are you out here?" Daniel asked quietly. Samuel studied him for a long moment. "I used to lecture about human behavior," he finally said. Daniel blinked. "Lecture? At a university? Psychology?" Years earlier, Samuel had written a controversial paper about corporate burnout and emotional suppression in high-performance industries. He warned companies that ignoring mental health would collapse leadership from the inside. He was dismissed, mocked, eventually pushed out. Divorce followed. Isolation followed. The city became his classroom. The streets became his research lab. "I lost my position," Samuel said calmly. "But I never stopped studying." Daniel felt something shift inside him. The man he had pitied was quietly more aware than everyone rushing past. The next morning, Daniel did something impulsive. He photographed a page from the notebook and posted it online. No explanation, just the words, "Success without self-awareness is slow suicide." Within hours, it spread. Thousands of shares. Comments flooded in. "Who wrote this? This is exactly what I needed. Find this man." News outlets picked it up. People came looking. But when they reached the corner on 5th Street, Samuel was gone. No coat, no sign, no notebook, just an empty patch of pavement beneath a flickering streetlight. Daniel searched for days. Finally, the cafe owner nearby handed him something. "He left this for you." It was the notebook. Inside, the final page read, "If they finally listen, I don't need to be seen anymore." No forwarding address, no signature, just silence. Daniel didn't relaunch his company immediately. He rebuilt it differently, prioritizing people over pressure, listening more, watching more. The lessons of a man everyone ignored. Every day, we walk past people we assume have nothing to offer. We measure worth by appearance, by income, by status. But what if wisdom doesn't always wear a suit? What if the person you overlook is carrying the insight that could change your life? So here's my question. Have you ever underestimated someone, only to discover they saw the world more clearly than you ever did? Tell me in the comments. Because sometimes, the loudest truths are written in the quietest places.